Welcome back, Free Moving Nation. This is Unchained Frequency, the show where we reclaim the language of law, restore constitutional literacy, and remove the corporate fog surrounding our natural rights. Today, we continue what we started in episode 7, License versus Liberty. But now we go deeper. Definitions, jurisdictions, and how the state quietly uses language to convert your private travel into commercial activity. Because remember, if they redefine the words, they redefine the rights. This episode is going to equip you, not just inspire you. We are breaking down 1, the legal definition of person and why it matters. 2, the difference between an automobile and a motor vehicle. 3, why licenses is for commerce, not private travel. 4, how Marbury versus Madison, 1803, establishes the rule of law above state codes. 5, the Supremacy Clause and the 10th Amendment, the real power balance. 6, real case examples and modern strategies. This is not theory. This is how jurisdiction is triggered. Let's get into it. Definition matters. The state doesn't control you through force. It controls you through definitions. Let's start with Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition revised. Definition of person. Person. A human being is not a person because person may include a corporation, partnership, association, or other legal entity. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, revised. Now, Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1856. Person, term may include artificial beings created by law, such as corporations. Bouvier's 1856. So when we state statute says, no person shall operate a motor vehicle without a license, they are not talking about a living man or woman exercising a natural right. They are talking about a corporate legal entity engaged in regulated commercial activity. Now, let's define driving. Briefly, repeating from your previous episodes because repetition is reinforced. Driver, Bouvier, 1856, 1 employed in conducting a carriage or vehicle. Driver, Blacks, 4th, 1 employed to operate a motor vehicle. Employed, occupation, compensation, commerce. If you are not operating commercially, you are not driving, you are traveling. That distinction is not philosophy, it's a legal classification. Marbury versus Madison, 1803. Now we establish the judicial foundation that controls all of this. Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. 137, 1803, Chief Justice John Marshall wrote, "It is, emphatically, the province and duty of the judicial department to say what the law is," meaning courts decide the law, not police, not DMV clerks, not highway patrol, etc. If statutory definitions conflict with the constitutional rights, the Constitution wins. Which brings us to the Supremacy Clause. U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Clause 2. This Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land. Anything in the laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Meaning, if a state statute, like a motor vehicle code, conflicts with your right to travel, the statute is void to the extent of the conflict. This is not up for debate. It is constitutional hierarchy. The 10th Amendment. Now let's be precise here. The 10th Amendment reserves police powers to the state. The power not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the states. This includes 1. Highway safety. 2. Commercial licenses. 3. Public roadway regulations. But only in commercial capacity. States cannot regulate private citizens traveling privately without their voluntary entry into a commercial contract. And how do they get that voluntary contract? This is an interesting question. Pay attention. This is how they get it. The driver's license, the vehicle registration, the state issue place. Once you apply, you consent. Once you consent, you fall under commercial jurisdiction. This is why language in DMV paperwork says applicant voluntarily submits to the laws and jurisdiction of the state. That's the trap, not the road, not the car, the contract. Okay? Now, the policy rationale of this, right? States regulate commercial operation for logical reasons. 1. Safety on public highways. 2. Insurance and liability. 3. Accountability for cargo and passengers. These are commercial risk, not private rights. Traveling in your privately owned automobile to one work, church, mosque, gym, synagogue, store, family, etc. is not commerce. Commerce equals profit motive. Travel equals movement. These are not the same in law. Real case reality. Yes, courts often reject right to travel arguments when 1. The defendant used the term sovereign citizen. Never use that term. You will fail. You will fail and you will fail again. 2. Argue feelings instead of law. That's what most people don't understand there. Get out of your feelings and think rationally when you're in these courts. 3. Could not articulate the statutory classification distinction. But courts do recognize the right to travel when 1. The defendant did not act commercially. 2. There was no contract establishing state jurisdiction. 3. The argument was structured from constitutional hierarchy, not emotions. You are not losing the right. Most people are arguing it incorrectly. So, for my listeners, got some Q&A in here, all right? I call it the Q&A devil's advocate. So here's the question. If I don't need a license, why do people get arrested when they say this in court? The answer is because they enter the commercial contract already. You must remove yourself from the contract before asserting the right, and you must assert it correctly. In writing, not doing a traffic stop. Never do that during a traffic stop. You make yourself look like a complete fool, and they know that. And you subject yourself to their jurisdiction, possibly maybe be put in jail for it too, depending on the state statutes or the codes that they say you have broken. So should I just stop using a license immediately? That's an interesting question. The answer to that, no, not yet. Education before execution. You need 1, status correction paperwork. 2, a lawful affidavit of non-commercial travel. 3, notice of private automobile. 4, proper plate replacement procedure. And 5, documentation to show in court. This is a process, not a slogan. I'm coming to my conclusion and finding out through a colleague of mine that we was discussing this last night about how they do have exemptions for this, but they don't want to let everyone know about this. And we all know why. It's because of profit. They're so greedy. It's unbelievable. And this is what they do. So I want to recommend 2 books that everyone should Go out and buy. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on maybe eBay or whatever you can find this books. You could possibly find it on maybe a PDF version. Hopefully there's a free download, but I doubt it. But you can look. The first book is An Invincible Contracts with Two Federal Corporations known as the United States and the United States of America by George Mercier. The second book is Contract Law for Dummies. It's very, very important that we understand contract. A lot of people don't understand contract. This is the problem, okay? Every state within the United States of America is all about contracts, and it's called adhesion contracts. And you need to look at what an adhesion contract is. Google it, okay? It's not that difficult to do, people. Just do your homework. Stop being lazy. Get off your bombs. Read and do your own due diligence and research. Now, this is not legal or lawful advice like I always tell everybody in my shows, and I want to make sure I clarify that. I'm just giving you the reference and the information so that you can go ahead and do what you need to do to get your remedy. So here's the final summary, okay? Today we covered 1, person equal man/woman. 2, driver equals commercial operator. 3, motor vehicle equals commercial transport device. 5, Marbury versus Madison, courts define law. 6, Supremacy Clause, Constitution overrides statutes. And 7, 10th Amendment, states can regulate commerce, not private travel. So here's the thing about the 3 branches of government, okay? And it's very important that we understand Marbury versus Madison, courts define the law. How do they define it? The 3 branches of government is what? It's Article 1, Congress, legislative. They what? Make the laws. Executive is what? Executive branch is what? It's the president. He enforces the law. And 3 is what? Judicial or judiciary. That is the Supreme Court Justice, the highest court of the land, period. They do 3 things. They interpret the law. They have jurisdiction over civil disputes. And they protect the Constitution. That is their job. Okay, and the Supremacy Clause is very important because the Constitution overrides any state statutes, county ordinances, city or municipalities codes. So your right to travel is not lost. It is buried under language. When you reclaim the language, you reclaim the right. Stay aware, stay precise, stay disciplined. This is Unchained Frequency. I'll see you next Tuesday.